Live now. Hi everyone, this is Kevin. Christina Chong from Star Trek is going to be joining us in a minute, and I'm totally nerding out about that because just a big nerd and I love space stuff. So Christina, do you see? Yeah, there. I see you joined. Okay, so I'm waving to you. All you have to do is click request to join. Okay, I think you're going to be on in a second. Did you click request to join?
Yeah, I think I did. So it's the plus sign, right?
I'm not. No, I think there's something else. Like you have to request to join the live, like to be on the live. It's okay. This type of thing happens all the time with Instagram Live. So, hmm. Okay, let's figure that out. Uh, okay, hey, anybody that's watching this, do you guys know how Christina can join the Instagram Live? Okay, I think I see it. Request to join. Okay, so I think Christina Chong from Star Trek is joining us right now. Hey, Christina, how are you doing? We did it.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm just turning off the Google Meet that we were in, so you can turn that off now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, hey everyone, and thank you for joining this live streamed interview with Christina Chong. She is the Christina Chong from Star Trek's Strange New Worlds, which is pretty cool. She plays the chief security officer on the Enterprise, and your name is a little hard to pronounce on that show, so I won't even try.
Oh, the An Noonien Singh.
Yes, that. So, welcome, Christina, to Meditation Magazine's live stream interview. We're very honored and happy to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yes. So our recent issue that just came out is the Earth issue, and the one before that was the health issue. So we're kind of building up to the universe issue by like starting with the individual, and then going to like expanding the awareness to the oneness with the Earth, expanding the awareness to oneness with the universe.
I love it.
Bending the sense of self from individual to universe. So this interview, we're going to use quotes and stuff like that for the universe issue, and it's going to be a really cool feature. So for now, I actually like to start out our interviews with a little bit of breath work. And Christina, I know you have some meditation practices and that you've practiced Wim Hof breathing before, but I'll just explain it for any people that are watching that might want to join us. So to do this breathwork exercise, it's a very intense exercise. You're going to just basically be hyperventilating, like really intensely. And this is basically adding a lot of oxygen to our blood and getting rid of a lot of carbon dioxide, which makes our blood more alkaline, which is good for your body. And it also supercharges your consciousness with like lots of energy, and it's pretty amazing. So basically that we're going to do the hyperventilation, and then we're going to hold the breath out for a few seconds, like empty of air, and then we're going to hold the breath in for a few seconds. And that's one round. I think we're just going to do one round for today.
Okay,
So,
and you're going to guide us through it, right?
yes, I'm going to guide through, and just try to follow the pace and the depth of my breathing if you can. You can do it through your nose. That's like the traditional way from like ancient India. But I do it through my mouth or my nose. Like I think both of them work great. So whatever is more comfortable for you. I'm going to do it through my mouth so that you guys can see what, like, to follow the pace of the breathing. Okay, let's go. And now hold your breath out. You may feel your body tingling. That's good. You're feeling the effects in your body. Just feel your body now, tingling with energy. And then when you take a huge breath in, hold that breath in and just feel how your body feels now, filled with air. You may feel tingling, you may feel dizzy. These are good. That means that the technique is working. It's healing your body on a cellular and nervous system level. And now we can exhale and just go back into normal breathing. If you did it very intensely, you may be feeling very intense.
Lightheaded.
Yeah, lightheadedness. Good. So you did it intensely. That's great. I know I can see you have experience. If people who are following along, if you were new to this technique, if you didn't feel the effects right away, that's normal. It usually takes a few rounds of that type of breathing. And the more intensely you do it, the more intensely you'll get the effects. And to look more into that type of breathing, you can just check out meditationmag.com. We have articles and stuff. So now diving into this conversation with Christina Chong, which I'm very excited about. So Christina, we have Giovanna and I, my wife and I, have been watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds for the past few days, and it is amazing. Okay, so somebody said there's no sound. Are you able to hear?
I can hear. I can
Okay.
hear you.
Yeah.
Can people hear me? I don't know if people can hear me. I can hear
Yeah, I
both.
can hear you. So, okay, I saw I was only one person that said there's no sound. Does everybody else hear the sound? Is everybody else hearing? People, you can just comment. Anybody comment that the sound is working? I think it is. I think it is working. I see nobody else seems to be. Oh, somebody else said I can't hear anything. Ankush
Oh, look.
said,
Okay.
"Hang on, let me just check to see if he's the same person that said." Oh, he's the person that said there was no sound. Okay, other people can hear. Okay. Awesome. So it seems like Ankush, maybe it's something on your end. So anyway, Christina, we've been watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds for the past few days. And honestly, like for me, I've always been more of a Star Wars kind of guy, or at least I saw myself that way. I think that was just like something I told myself since I was a kid. And now watching your show, I've actually gotten really nerdy and nerding out about Star Trek because it does have some very beautiful themes to it, and it's a very deep show. You know what I mean? Like it really goes. Um, it's, okay, everybody's commenting that you can hear. Thank you. We got it. Thank you very much. So it's got such deep themes of just like philosophical, even societal, really deep themes, and I think that we can talk about some of those themes today. And I'm very excited at the chance to be able to talk about it with somebody who's actually on the show. So okay, so I wanted to start out just by asking you about your own personal meditation practice, because I know that you have a personal meditation practice. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I started, if I don't meditate, I suffer from anxiety and, I mean, a lot of people do, right? So that's what got me into meditation in the first place. And I started playing around with it probably 2009, something like that. I had a friend who introduced me to the book The Secret and a few other things, and he was a very meditative guy, and I started meditating with him. And then it was only when I realized that in order to get the full benefits of meditation, I had to stick with it as a discipline daily. And so I would, play with it here and there for a few months, and then I'd drop it, and then I'd get on with life, and like, oh, surprise, my anxieties come back again. So, for me, it's almost like a religion. I meditate. I mean, I can probably count on one hand how many days I haven't meditated this year.
That's awesome.
So on the days, but that is quite rare actually. So even when I'm filming, you know, on set, we have, sometimes it can be a 16-hour day, you get 6 hours sleep, but I would rather get less sleep and meditate and get up early and meditate, because I know how beneficial that is for me, you know?
That's true.
So I do a minimum of, most of the time it's an hour meditation in the morning. It's seated practice. It's, I've played around, I've gone through, I first started with guided meditation. So anybody who is starting out with it, probably the guided one is the easiest. Then I went to just sound, like the tambura sound, kind of listening to the droll undertone of the tambura. Then I moved to, then I moved to just the sounds of whatever was going on. I used to live in a place that was quite close to a main road, so I would listen to the sound of cars, and that would be my constant sound, as well as imagining a light here as well. So I would have both things. I'd imagine a light in my third eye, as well as listening to the consistency of the sound. And then more recently, over the last few years, I've moved to the only way you can explain it, I still have the light, but it's like I'm listening to the sound of my inner body. So I'm not sure how I can't really explain how I do that, but I also play with that, and depending on how I'm feeling, I play with also channeling an energy which some might call God, some might call the universe, angel energy, whatever it is, but it's a connection that I first try to connect with the energy, and I kind of imagine a light coming through the top of my head, through my body, my spine and my legs, and feel enveloped by that energy. But before I meditate, I also do like a 20-minute yoga practice as well, to open up the chakras, ready for meditation. And then after my meditation, I then do essentially a gratitude list. The different, depending on how I'm feeling that day, will be a different kind of gratitude list. And that's my full practice daily. Can be normally it's about, if it's a good day, it can be up to 2 hours. That's the days that I don't. And obviously when I'm filming, I have to shorten that down probably to an hour, the whole thing to an hour. But yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, that's a really extensive practice. You know, I've talked to other, you know, celebrities and people, actresses and actors and whatever, and they usually, you know, they have a practice. It's like, you know, 10 minutes in the morning or 5 minutes in the morning. It's impressive to hear such an extensive practice from somebody who is, you know, right now a successful actress on a major TV show, because a lot of people think that they just don't have time to meditate, and you know, somebody like you're a busy person, but you make that time.
For me, it's the most important thing. Like for me to, because also it's when you are busy, when you know, and of course I've had those feelings where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so busy, I can't. But I've tried that. I've tried not meditating when I'm busy, but it's always, everything that then comes at you on that day, you have less calmness and less ability to deal with those issues and those anxieties. So I would much prefer to set up my morning, set up my day, intend it to go well from the beginning of the day. And then anything that happens to me, I can kind of let it, you know, wash over me, or embrace it in a more positive energy.
Hell yeah, well said. Thank you. There's a lot of people that are commenting. I wanted to let people know, if you want to get a response or you want to ask a question, there's a little question mark at the bottom right. You can hit the little question mark bubble and send questions, and we can try to ask Christina questions at the end of the conversation if we have time. Okay. So Christina, that what you were saying about how it sets up your day in a way that you're able to face things with calmness, I have found in my life, like I wouldn't have been able to produce these magazines if it wasn't for my personal meditation practice. I wouldn't have been able to grow the company the way it has. I wouldn't have been able to do half of the things in my life that I've done if not for my meditation practice. Would you say that your practice has helped you in your acting career?
100% is the thing that got me here where I am today. 100%. I because also, you know, when you're centered and in your true self, the right things come to you at the right time, the right people come to you, you happen to be in the right place at the right time, and you see clearly your path. You can see the path you're meant to be down because you're connected to yourself, you're connected to the universe, you know what's right for you.
Mm.
I don't think, for me, I was like, guidance is one thing that I have had struggled with in the past. And obviously, you know, sometimes you still get confused of what's guidance, what's ego, and knowing to follow which one when, and knowing, you know, differentiating between them. And I think for me, guidance is, it's almost like a voice that is a download. It's like a download that happens and you just know it. There's no feeling, intense feeling connected to it. It's not a nervous feeling. It's not an anxious feeling. It's not a scared feeling. It's not an elated feeling. It's neither of those things. I think guidance for me is just a deep knowing, well, this is the right thing because I know it. Whereas I think when it's ego, it's a very fearful energy, or it's a really excited energy.
Wow.
Sometimes, yeah, I think.
That's a really deep way to differentiate between guidance and ego. And I've never heard it expressed that way. But actually, I do know what you're talking about. I'm going to think about that more later. And I'm gonna try to see if I can differentiate between my own like ego, like, hey, we got to do this, versus like the guidance that comes in. That's really great. Thank you. So you had been talking to me before the interview about law of attraction, and that it seems like almost something similar to what you're talking about right now. It's not the same exact thing. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the baby crying in the other room. She just woke up from her nap. Giovanna's going to take care of her. But yeah, sorry about the crying that you may hear. But okay, so the law of attraction is interesting because it's kind of like, you know, what you think about is what you attract. But what you're talking about is kind of like the reverse side of that. It's like the flip side, which is that it's not like what you think you attract, but this is what you're thinking about, like what your thoughts that you're attracting from the universe. You know what I mean?
I think this, and it can work both ways. I think you
Mm-hmm.
can use your ego mind to attract things, but I think those things that you attract aren't necessarily right for your path.
Right, because those would
Your deepest divine path.
yeah.
You know, but I think that
You
come
thought,
in, yeah.
and those are the you know, I was talking to Krishna Das the other day. I don't know if you know Krishna Das. We did a live stream like this. Oh boy, sorry about that. Her mom is taking care of her. Don't worry. But yeah, I was talking to Krishna Das, and he said those subtler states cannot be brought on by an act of will.
And
So,
this is my number one statement that I mentioned the book to you. It's called The Science of Health by Mary Eddy Baker. Studied it quite extensively, actually. I'm not religious. It is kind of like a Christianity based book, but there's a lot of wisdom in there. If you take out words such as sin and Jesus and all of those things, and got, you know, all the words, and just kind of simplify it all and use it as an energetic format to use, then it's very, one of the key things, which is, you know, it's in the Bible, God's will, not thine, right? But it's that translates to me as, let this energy, let the divine, let the universe, let it come through you, as opposed to trying to manipulate it and force it and action it. I think action is great, but I think it has to be inspired action in order to really get to the place that your true heart desires.
yeah.
And I think forcing it, yes, you can get there and you will achieve a certain level, but I don't believe you can achieve your highest potential through pure will and determination. I think it has to flow through as and when it's supposed to.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's surrender, right? The surrender, which is a huge thing for a lot of people. People say, oh, just let it go, just surrender. Yeah, but how do I surrender? And that was you know, I had an ex-boyfriend who used to say, just imagine, because I was trying to figure it all out, and I was reading all this Krishnamurti and all these, like, all the big, you know, big books that you're supposed to read to find Osho and all these, and I was like, how do I let go? I want to let go, but how do I let go? He was like, well, just imagine you're walking with chains on your legs and then just drop them. I was like, that doesn't work for me. Like, how do you really let go of something? And for me, my thing that I really wanted that I couldn't let go of at that time was my career. And so I'm wanting to be somewhere I wasn't at that time. So for me, it was that book that really helped me to understand or to believe that we are, well, it's science, right? We're all made of these tiny quarks. The table is made of quarks. We are all made of the same energy, just different frequencies of that energy. And we're all more or less developed in different areas, but essentially we're all the same thing. So therefore, we are all one, right? And now I've just totally forgot why I went into the all one bit.
It was very interesting. All the stuff that you were talking about was really interesting, but here, let's keep it flowing forward because we don't have that much more time, and I have a bunch of things I want to talk to you about the universe.
Okay. Let's get to the point. Maybe it will come back later. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a good. Sometimes it does. So so you were just talking about we're all one, right? And that we're all made up of the same stuff, the same quarks and gluons and atoms and stuff. Right. So that's kind of the big picture of the universe issue. You're really touching on the main core of it, which is that everything is one. The universe is one. We are one with the universe. We are the universe. You know what I mean? There's no universe and then us. We are it, just like a galaxy or a star or something like that, you know? So that to me is one of the reasons that I love to watch things like Star Trek and Star Wars. Because I'm looking at this epic, almost infinite universe, maybe infinite, maybe multiverse. Like, we don't know. Like, it could be infinite, eternal. Maybe there was a big bang. But to me, it always feels like it's infinite. And when we realize that we are one with it, and that literally we are the universe, like this is the universe, everything, you are the universe, the phone is the universe. So when we realize that, it connects us with something greater. It makes us feel like infinite and eternal. Like,
but
you know,
we are infinite and eternal. I believe we are.
We are.
Like, we get stuck in this mortal sense of being, and that we are this physical material body. But then if that's all we are, how did we come into the body?
Yeah.
You know, the consciousness, where does that? And if you think about it, if you chop your arm off and you throw it over there, that arm no longer has consciousness. It's dead. So then the consciousness can't be material. It can't be matter, right? So
I want to come back to this I wanted to ask you about teleportation, because like the beam me up thing in Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah.
And this is exactly on topic for that. So so what I was saying about like being what you were just saying about being eternal and infinite, and that when we're one with the universe, then we realize that we're not just these mortal selves. And the thing is that, like, people think, oh, this is like, who cares, like, about, you know, the universe and things like that. Like, you don't realize how important it is to your own mental health until you practice it. So basically, when you realize, like, through meditation and through like feeling your being the universe, like feeling it in your body, when you do that, you realize that, like, there is this fear of death that is so core to all our fears, so core to all of our stresses and anxieties. And the Buddhists say that the fear of death is the core fear behind everything, behind all your fears and all your anxieties. And when we connect with the universe and realize that we are it, there's that fear drops away. And because you realize that yes, this body will die, but this, that you are the universe, it's infinite and eternal. It won't. Like, even if there's the Big Bang collapses again and this universe goes away, if there was one Big Bang, I'm sure there will be more Big Bangs, and there are probably other universes in different dimensions, and who knows.
Mhm.
So you connect with that infinity and eternity, and it makes you feel um, less, not mortal in a certain way, because immortal and eternal. And
Mhm.
then the fear goes away, and then that basically, when that dissolves, then all your fears and anxieties start to dissolve.
Yeah, in that moment when you can channel that universal energy,
Mm.
nothing matters and everything matters at the same time. You know, it's that conundrum of the Tao Te Ching and, you know, the opposites, and but yeah, it's like when I feel connected to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, um it's just it's just a knowing that absolutely everything's going to be okay. And so I, you know, that's why I have to have that you know, section of my life every morning to really understand that, and really, and it's also a deeper delving into things. It's like different, finding it in different areas, maybe sickness, maybe I had to really work on it this season for Star Trek, the second season. It was really hard schedule wise for me, and you know, we're working crazy hours, not sleeping very much, and I'm like, oh my god, I need 8 hours sleep. And I was like, well, I can't have 8 hours sleep on this show right now. I'm going to have to deal with 5, sometimes 4, sometimes 6, so I'm going to have to deal with that. And so I went into it when I was like, okay, show me. And also sometimes that's what I do. I ask questions. Show me the answer to, give me the answer to X, Y, Z, right? And I meditate and then just allow that answer to come in. Sometimes it comes in a visual, sometimes it comes in reading a book. But with that particular one, I was reading the Science of Health book, and it was describing how, you know, everything is a expression of the universe, right? Like we were just saying, everything is an expression of the universe. It's an idea, right? It's an idea. Everything is an idea. And therefore, and they were comparing it to a number, right? Let's just say the number 3, mathematics. How many times during the day, all over the world, is the number 3 used? And does it wear down? Does it, you know, diminish? Does it die? Does it get tired? No, it's still number 3.
Hmm.
And so I found that, I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, but I found that comparison super helpful, because I was like, okay, I would just channel the number 3 above my head and allow number 3 to come through me. I was like, no,
Hmm.
no, no. I'm an idea as well, an idea of the universe. I'm an expression of the universe. Therefore, I too am not going to get tired. Impossible to get tired. When you're doing the universe's work through you, impossible to get tired. And so,
Hmm.
bling, I only needed 4 hours sleep. I could be on it 100%. And I managed to continue that throughout the season.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're channeling, you become a vessel for the universe to
Yes.
in Star Trek, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Usually, I like it when I hear people talk about being a vessel for the universe. It's usually like, oh, I'm like teaching meditation or something like that. But it's like, oh, I'm acting in Star Trek. But it is a beautiful thing. You are creating um, something that people can watch that helps them connect with the universe, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a really amazing thing. So actually, the teleportation thing that I was gonna ask you about. So this is something that I've been thinking about since I was a kid, since I was like, you know, a little nerd child watching Star Trek in the basement. So whenever people would teleport, when I was a kid, I would think like, okay, so what's happening to them? They're getting basically dissolved down to their atoms and then like created in a different place. So essentially, like their body is being transported. And what you were just saying was, you know, but if you chop off your arm and throw it somewhere, then there's no consciousness there. It's just the physical matter. So if you're taking your body, dissolving it, and then putting it somewhere else, where does the consciousness go?
Well, the consciousness is everywhere, no? The
Mm,
consciousness there, is
yeah.
everywhere. It is not, it's not limited by space or by time,
Mm,
and because time isn't real, right?
mm,
So I think the consciousness, yes, maybe the atoms and the quarks, they transport, but the body was always where it was, that the consciousness was always here and always there.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's a fascinating answer. It actually reminds me. I was talking to Deepak Chopra a few months back, and he said something very similar. I think it's something that is a like almost like a Hindu kind of concept that came from India. This consciousness is everywhere type of thing. And I mean, it's possible it came from before that, and like it's just part of human nature to see that. Um,
Hmm.
but uh, so I have two ways of looking at it because I grew up. My mom is a biology professor, so she always taught us biology when we were kids. And one of the things she taught us about was the nervous system and how the mind like arises from the nervous system and the brain. So that's like the science way of thinking about consciousness. And then
Yeah.
there's a way that you were just talking about that the consciousness is everywhere. That is they call it philosophical idealism, and a lot of like Hindu traditions are based in that, and like yogic traditions. That idea that everything is consciousness, essentially the universe is consciousness,
Mm.
and we are just sort of receptacles for it. We're just like channeling it essentially.
Yeah. Vessels
So
to channel.
yeah, so I guess do you see it fully on that the universe consciousness way of looking at it, and don't see it at all of like the consciousness is arising from our nervous systems? Because there is also this other way of looking at it, which is that it's sort of both at the same time. That's like Descartes. It's called dualism, where where it's both like your consciousness is arising from your body, but it also exists as like the universe. So do you have like a do you think it's like both, or do you think it's like just only the universe consciousness?
Because if we're saying we're all one,
Mm,
right? If we're saying
mm,
we're all connected, then there is
mm,
no separation between, it's like a ray of the sun's rays, right? It's like, yes, I'm an extension of that sun. I'm one of those rays of sun, but I'm still attached to the sun. I'm still part of the sun.
mm,
For me, this is a new concept I haven't thought about before, but for me, it's that it's it is the universe. We are the universe. We are all the universe. And it's almost the consciousness is what guides the material, the matter. So the consciousness is what allows um, the belief. So it's belief as well, right? A belief. If I believe, somebody has to, like Star Trek, somebody has to imagine something in order to create it. And that has come from some consciousness somewhere, right? Somebody had some idea that came to them from somewhere else that nobody else had thought about before, which made them create something, build this teleportation machine.
mm.
And then but it's the belief through consciousness that you can do that you can be broken down in these tiny little parts and then taken over there. And but it's a that's interesting because I'm now like thinking, oh, maybe it is
Yeah,
both,
it's a
but
question, right? It's a
yeah.
crazy thing to think about. Yeah, it is. It's an age old debate and mystery, of how consciousness works. So it's not something that you're going to really be able to answer right now as like a concrete answer. I think it's more of like
Yeah.
a conversation, and I really love to have these types of conversations with people who think about this type of thing, or who are interested. Like because that's rare. I think that it's rare to have somebody that's that interested in this type of thing, and for you to be on Star Trek, I think is super cool because I feel like you get to encounter this type of beautiful, epic, like mysterious things, like in your job.
Mhm.
Do you ever feel like that when you're working on the show? Like, do you ever feel like, wow, like this is a fascinating concept, or like, wow, this is like really like epic and mind blowing, or like awe inspiring? Do you ever get that feeling when you're working on it?
I mean, I've got, when I'm actually in it, I'm so in character, and for me as the character, I it's normal. So I personalize anything that is out of the normal that wouldn't feel natural and just everyday for her. I have to personalize it so it feels natural and normal for La'an. So to be honest with you, I can't. Nothing is coming to mind now where I was kind of. Yeah, the sets and the way that the technology they have, the augmented reality wall, the fact that you can be in this whole other world, but you're on a stage with screens 270 degrees around you, and you can be, it can look like you can walk through the wall, through a hole, through a door, but it's a screen. You know, that for sure, if anything. But yeah, in general, things that I talk about, or I guess it's the new worlds that we go to, which are the most awe-inspiring. But essentially, La'an's character is very repressed and would never really express as such that it was a wow moment for her.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I think Leon is so different from you. It's cool that
Yeah.
you're in character, so, like that you stay in character so much. But like she's so like stoic and like kind of like a hard stone face, you know. And it's amazing that you're able to stay in character that whole time. Okay, so we have to wrap this up in the next few minutes. So I'm just like I'm gonna go to the questions in a minute. So if anybody has any questions you want me to ask, just put them in that question mark. For now, I want to wrap up with this like sort of crazy last question that is maybe not answerable, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it, and have a conversation about it. Okay, why does anything exist at all? Right? We're talking about the universe. Why does the universe exist in the first place? It's like a question that's at the heart of all religions and spiritual traditions. Like, uh, well, kind of mind blowing. But do you ever think about that?
I haven't ever. You've really put me on the spot there. So I would say, like, well, let me start here and see where my mind goes. So I would say why we exist as expressions of the universe is to evolve, to be expressed, for the universe to express and to evolve. And it's like a constant evolving, and you know, you look back, you know, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, how far we have come. I think the whole purpose of life is to grow and evolve, and to become more and more truly authentic and closer to that pure essence of the universe, of love, of consciousness, right? Of pure consciousness, love, essentially. And so if that is our reason for being there, being
Right.
here to
That
express.
our reason for being, but here just to rephrase, so like let's say Judaism, they say that that's how I grew up. They say that the universe was created by God in 7 days.
Yeah,
Christianity, same thing. So God created the universe, but then it still begs the question, like, where did God come
where did
from?
God come?
Why does God exist? Like, if you know, who created God? So in the Eastern traditions like Buddhism and Hinduism and stuff like that, they have different sort of concepts around it. I have my own kind of ideas about it, that have come through my own meditations. But do you ever think about that? Like, I don't know if you're not religious. You mentioned earlier you're not religious, so like maybe it's not God for you. So like, what is it that created the universe? Like, why is it here? Did it ever have a beginning? Like, do you ever think about that stuff?
Not until today, no. But yeah, it's kind of that's a really tricky question. That's a really something, and I've never even read much about that either. That's a new thing for me to look into.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I guess,
I'm gonna send you a video from Alan Watts about it.
oh, I
he's
love.
oh, Alan Watts. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just uh,
What does he say?
it's kind of a mystery, you know. Like he puts it as a question more than as trying to answer it, and I think that's really like a big part of existence and the universe, and like trying to understand it. Like we can't, you know, like we just can't, but we can marvel at the mystery of it. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, I feel like maybe in Star Trek, as an example, or TV shows like that, sometimes there's some mystery you're trying to figure out, you're trying to understand it, but the best part is not the answer. The best part is like the that feeling of mystery and like, oh, what's going on? Like, how does this work? You know what I mean? And that's sometimes the most beautiful thing.
And the journey of it all, the feeling of the experience,
Yeah.
the experience of it all. There's that video by Alan Watts, which I absolutely love, when he talks about how the purpose here is the journey. You know, we're all taught as children to get to this stage, pass the exams, go to college, get your degree, get married, have children. There's always a goal ahead to work towards. And he says, well, then, you know, what would be the point in going to a concert? If the point of getting somewhere was to, if that was the point, then you go to a concert, they play the end note, and then you go home.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that life is
or
like,
you never go on holiday because the end place is home. So
yeah.
the whole journey and being, and which is the whole thing, right? Being at all the religions, being in the moment, being at one, being now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you. I saw somebody just commented the purpose of the universe is to Star Trek. I love that comment. I think he was being funny, but actually there is a beautiful deep thing there about exploring. You know what I mean? Exploring the universe. And I feel like that there is a lot of beauty in exploring and learning, and that's the whole journey. That's like what you're saying. It's the journey of exploring and growing. Like you said, that's why we're here. And I feel like that exploration leads to this sense of awe of existence and just being in awe of everything. And to me, that's like the most beautiful feeling to live in. Just this sense of being in awe of being alive and the universe and all of that. And your show, thank you for your show that puts me in that state. Thank you for that. So do you have time for a couple of questions from the audience?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here, I'm going to click on it. Okay. Most people just saying that you're beautiful. I'm trying to find one here. Let's see. Okay. They're mostly about the second season of Star Trek. I'm trying to see if any of them are on meditation related. Okay, this is a at least a wellness related one. What is your workout regimen? That's Katonk 66 is asking, what is your workout regimen? I saw your last video with the parkour and martial arts.
Well, for me, on a daily basis, it's yoga, and then from there, I work. You know, I do working with, that's the one thing I prioritize yoga over working out. But when I'm not filming intensely, I will do, like, you know, my own little workouts, or I have a trainer who I'll do, like, you know, weights and things, and, you know, your normal gym stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, and I see another Myopium asked, Christina, are there any particular writings you adhere to or incorporate into your spiritual practice?
So my main, at the moment, the main thing that I use is and work with is a book I mentioned before, Science of Health by Mary Eddy Baker, which is a great, very healing book, and really goes into the all we are one. And another book that I also use and use practices with, I work with a life coach called Michael James, and he has a book called Feel Better No Matter What, which you can get on Amazon, and all his techniques are in there. And a lot of that is about how to be okay with not being okay, because that is the key. We get in our own way a lot of the time with these fears and anxieties, but actually it's okay to feel like that, because those things evolve us and help us to grow. But if you let that rule your life and let that lead your life, you're not gonna potentially end up where you could end up, you know?
Yeah, that's very powerful. Yeah, being okay with not being okay. It's we call that. I run a meditation course as well as the meditation magazine. It's actually part of meditation magazine. We call that equanimity. It's like a word from like the Buddhist traditions. That is being okay with not being okay. Essentially, like whatever it is that you feel, you just feel it with curiosity and just with awareness, without judging it as negative. So when a lot of times, like even like people who are meditating, they get into this feeling of like, oh, but I'm not in bliss. Like I'm stressed out still, even though I'm meditating, or I have this problem or whatever. And then we get hard on ourselves for not feeling like perfect, and then that just becomes a downward spiral. So
Yeah,
let
I think,
that,
yeah, that's that one. I think the first step is accepting it, going, okay, I feel like this. Okay, fine. Well, I feel like this now. It is what it is. I feel like this. But then what this book does as well, it takes another level. And my coach, my life coach, and it's literally practical exercises where you write at the top good things about feeling anxious, and then
mm,
you'll write a list under that, good things about feeling anxious. And then once I'm okay with feeling anxious, I'll go to good things about the situation that made me anxious, and
mm,
then go there and do. And that is really, that's a gratitude. It's about, it's being thankful for the emotion that you have, and being accepting of where you are, which ultimately is alignment. Being okay with the mood you're in is alignment.
yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. I think that's a great place for us to wrap up this conversation. I know there's still questions in there, but we do have to stick to our timeline. But check this out. This is Strange New Worlds. Can you see this? Strange New Worlds with Christina Chong as Laan. I don't know how to pronounce it. Do it again. Yeah, there you go. The security officer of the USS Enterprise did very, very well on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. 99% critics and 80% viewers, which is it's a very good score. I think it's getting me back into Star Trek. I haven't watched Star Trek in a long time, but I think I'm gonna to get back into it now. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for being here, Christina, and thank you for
Thank
everybody for
you.
watching, and for your comments and everything. If you want to see, this interview is going to be in the Universe issue, which is going to be hitting shelves worldwide, Barnes and Noble, Whole Foods, Books a Million, Sprouts, Chapters Indigo, pretty much like everything in the United States, and then worldwide in limited stores. In the UK, you can find us in Magazine Heaven. That's I don't know if you know where that is. It's somewhere in the UK. But if you want to see the full interview, it's going to be like a nice spread with cool pictures and stuff. And Christina, we should coordinate some really cool pictures for that after this
Yeah,
conversation.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Amazing.
Thank you everyone for being here, and thank you, Christina. Bye.